Hey, Coach. Well, congrats again after the win a couple of days ago. But I know for you it's probably ancient history. When we talked to you after the game, been like 15 minutes gone by, and you were already thinking ahead. I mean, how tough is it to put that one away and just concentrate on Texas State?
I think players and fans get to enjoy that win. Fans probably longer than players, but coaches, it's not very long that before we were talking about Texas State in the next week and the challenges that we have in front of us as a staff, because we have to be ready to get rolling on that. As soon as you wake up Sunday morning, you're back in the office and let's go. So I think that we understand what our job is, and our job is to make sure our players are playing at the highest level they could play at the following week.
What's tougher as a coach, coming off maybe a tough, heartbreaking loss or a thrilling, incredible win over a number one team? What's tougher for you as a coach to get a team ready for the next week?
It's a great question, and unfortunately, I've had to deal with both ends of that question before. So, I mean, I probably have had some experiences at it, but I think they're similar. I really do. How long you let a tough loss, live with you is a difficult thing, and something you have to get over. And you got to put it away, and you got to put it in the closet and close the door. And the same thing's true about a great win. I think you remember it. It's going to be there. It's going to be a memory for life and all those things. But the reality of the situation is we have a lot of things we need to improve upon. And if we're going to glow in the past over a 35-33 win, and what a woulda, coulda, shoulda game maybe could have been different, then we have some things we need to learn from that game and carry on into our next game.
So now you start the gauntlet here. We've talked about it since the schedule came out several months ago. 5 straight on the road. First up, Texas State. Talk about your opponent this week and the challenge of going down there and hopefully getting a win.
Well, I think number one, I think Scotty hit it on the head. We're going to play probably the most athletic team that we've played this year, probably the biggest team that we've played this year. They may not, University of Montana's got a great program and a great history. Texas State is a very good football team as well, and I know they have high aspirations for what's going to happen this year. But I think it's going to be a difficult challenge. And the fact that we are going to Texas, there is going to be a heat factor. And all those things, and we have to be ready to win on the road. And the one thing I do like after playing a good opponent, you asked a question about beating University of Montana. I think the great thing is we play another good opponent, and that should get our attention and get it in a hurry. And they're playing in a good conference, the Southland Conference. It's arguably one of the better conferences itself in the United States, and we have a tremendous challenge ahead of us. And whether we want it or not, or even deserve it, to Texas State, I'm sure we're wearing a bullseye on our chest right now.
And I asked Scotty again about breaking that barrier down of road games, hopefully getting a win. I mean, how important do you think it is to get this win under your belt so you don't have to worry about that and have that hanging over your head?
Yeah, well, I think our players understand it and all those things, but it's gone. Last year is gone. This is 2010, and in 2010 we have an opportunity that we created by winning our first 2 home games. And what we want to do with the opportunity that we've now created, it's going to be up to winning on the road. And regardless of what we've done in the past and all those things, we need to play better. We need to play consistently, and I think he hit it on the head. We have to play a 60-minute football game to beat a good football team in Texas State.
I know this was your favorite question during training camp, the quarterback situation. Yeah. How's it looking today on Monday?
Looks like there's 3 guys that can play quarterback for us. So, that's probably where it's going to stand until we get to Thursday. Tony has got a little dinged up, and we're going to have to wait and see what the doctors say about his health and all those things. You cannot replace, 13 games of experience. That's a tough thing to replace. And Tony's got great leadership as a senior as well. Obviously, Doug came in and did some great things, especially to the naked eye, but Doug would be the first thing after the critique he's received today that there was 3 or 4 things that he did that weren't very good, and he needs to improve upon those things. And Andre, he's ready to roll too. He's 100% right now. He came out and ran today, looked great. So we have 3 quarterbacks, and Doug did some great things. I want to make sure I say that and all those things. And it was a tremendous experience for him to get the repetitions that he got in a game that was as difficult as that game was. And for us to come out successful, he deserves to be applauded for it. But we're not crowning him king yet. Let's put it that way.
What are some of the things, generally speaking, that you pointed out that he needs to work on if he is going to be the starter this?
Well, there's some game management issues that were very costly. That the naked eye, obviously, the fumble does stick out. It sticks out almost as much as the 83-yard touchdown on the opposite end of it. But when we went out, and it wasn't his fault that somebody lined up on the wrong side of the field, but it's his responsibility to get him lined up where he's supposed to and give him time to get set in a crucial part of the game. That we took a 5-yard penalty for procedure, illegal shift penalty that put us at 9 yards instead of 2nd and 3rd and 4 yards, which changed a little bit of the complexion of the game. Those are things he's going to learn from. I think a lot of it had to do with the excitement that he had and the enthusiasm he had to play. He's got to concentrate as a quarterback. You have to take the big picture into consideration every time the ball snapped, and you're in charge of that. And I think being in that game and the experiences, like I said, in some of those issues are things that he will correct and things that we think from a composure standpoint that should be things that he'll do extremely well.
What are some of the pluses you saw in the defensive end? After the game, you said, the defense won the game for you guys as well. Bent a little bit but didn't break, to use the cliche. But, what is it, the positive you're taking out of the defense, and what is it you need them to work on this week as well?
Well, we broke a couple of times, just in case, so I say that. But, the one thing we went into the game last year against the University of Montana, in the second half, they ran the ball at will against us and controlled the ball and controlled the tempo of the game in the second half. They didn't run the ball very well at all in that football game. And our front played so much better. We played 9 defensive linemen in that football game. They played significant amount of downs. And the game Marty Muhammad had, you can match it, and that's the challenge that we've given to Marty, is to match that. If you can do that against them, you should be able to do that every week. So he needs to prepare the same way, and so does our entire defense. Needs to prepare the same way, play at the same speed, the same tempo that they played with. I think people ask the question about Humboldt. I think that we carried over the momentum we created in the second half into the game this week. So the Humboldt game, in a way, was a great experience for us as far as understanding how we need to play on a snap-in and snap-out basis. So I think there were some good things that came about because of that, and I think that our defensive front played very well. But there were some schematic things that we, as coaches, need to clean up, and hopefully those will get cleaned up as well. But really, we allowed 8 plays to almost be the difference in the game, and we can't do that. You play good for 56 or 57 snaps, and 8 plays are not very well executed. We just found out that you can still lose the game, even though you're playing probably at an 80% efficiency clip.
Talk about the kicking situation with Jake and Langford. They both got chances at field goals. What's happening this week?
I think they both need to understand that it needs to go through the uprights. If it doesn't go through the uprights, they're not going to kick. James's was 50 yards, and Mr. West, I think, was 44. Jake's was 44 yards. And I think that James hit his pretty good, and Jake kind of yanked his again from the same hash mark that he had an issue with, I think, the week before. And the deal is 2, and the other guy gets a chance. So, I guess we got to give him the other. We can't afford to give points away. And especially in a game when you're playing like we played the other night, those points have to be our points. And we gave 14 points away as it was with our own 2 fumbles that we had on the offensive side of the ball. It took 7 points away from us, and the other one gave them 7. And so, we got to clean up those things, and when we have the opportunity to kick it through the uprights, the ball's got to go through the uprights. But James will get one more chance, and if he misses it, Jake will get the next one. So I think that as of right now, that's kind of where we are at the situation at the place kicker.
On Doug's fumble, I haven't had a chance to see a replay at all. Was that a face mask?
That was him trying to do more than he should do. And we have a motto at the quarterback position is don't make a bad play worse. And we didn't execute it up front, which is not Doug's responsibility, but once it breaks down, don't make a bad play worse. And unfortunately, he tried to arm over with the football, and when he armed over with the football, that's when bad things happen. And that's unfortunate. And then again, it's a learned lesson. I think that some of the plays he was able to make during the course of the game, he decided that he could, if things are going his way, he had that thing going. That's a great confidence. But also you have to use some intelligence as when to make a play and when to, a good play would have been taking a 7-yard sack right there and allowing us to punt the football. But unfortunately, he'll learn from it, and it did not cost us a football game, so that's a positive, I guess.
I guess my question is with Doug or any player, as a coach, how do you player manage youthful enthusiasm with adrenaline going in on that kind of stage? How do you do that as a head coach?
Well, I think part of it is the experience, is part of the experience of going through in it and understanding exactly what you need to do, and understanding as a quarterback that you really are controlling the tempo of the game and the football game, to be honest with you. We would like our quarterbacks to believe that they're the coaches on the field. We're not out there. We've done our teaching job and our coaching job, and when he gets to the line of scrimmage, he has a lot of authority. And the players need to respect that authority. So his enthusiasm, that's huge. I have no problem with the enthusiasm as long as it doesn't get in the way of his execution of what he's supposed to do on a down-in and down-out basis.
Do you like playing 9 defensive linemen?
Well, I think not if it's because of necessity. But last year it was necessity that it did it. This year it's because we really feel we have 9 guys that can play. Now, we still feel like we have our first 4, and then we have our guys that, if we're going to hopefully only get 15 to 20 plays. And I think if we can continue to do that, then we'll have the opportunity to stay fresher for a longer part of the season. So I think it's a definite bonus and a definite plus, but we got to see how James Chen's health reacts this week. Hopefully we can get him back, but if not, then we got to go with the guys we have, and we feel like we are deeper than we were a year ago.